Alright, running up to Ridge Vermont. That works better than the wiper right now. And whatever. Alright, this is day 2. Oh boy, 10th of April. I should put on the mask. You're hearing a lot more rattles in my vehicle. I think more than normal. But whatever, I can have to carry what I need. So it's a very different day today. Yesterday we were watching the beautiful plumes and ash going up in a nice high plume top. But now the ash is coming back down. It started last night. So this is day 2 of the explosive eruption. Started last night with the ash falling when I left home probably around 11. It was coming down, man. And in Kingston was terrible last night. Visibility very poor. And I heard persons talk about not Leeward who went back down. I don't know if I'll get there. My family has to go down to try to secure some things from the family home. But man, this is invincible. I'm still happy I'm able to experience it, but it's beginning to get a little not so happy feeling. Happy, I don't know how to describe that. You're not excited about this. This is overwhelming. It is overwhelming. All of that we see is not rain, it's dust, it's ash. Oh wow. Normally my bonnet would look white-ish. Well, white. Now it's off-white. To go all the way to Vermont. I was just looking for a shop. Oh, and the bakery is open. I'm going to take it. Just have to drop in at the bakery there. I got bread. I got bread. I was not expecting the bakery to be open, but I got bread. Don't have water at home, but I got bread. Oh, look at this. God is good. Something that I want to do, and my wife was hinting at it, is to see how we can help, especially persons in shelters. I mean, I'm somewhat fortunate that I'm living in the green zone, but I have a lot of friends from the, what they call the orange zone, areas like Troumaca. But I'm from Troumaca, so I have a lot of friends from Troumaca. But there are a number of persons in shelters, and some of the areas that have been used as shelters, oh my god, I'm wondering how does that work with the dust? Especially the schools. The schools were really built for ventilation. I don't think they catered for volcanic eruption or ash. So there's a lot of venting under the eave to keep it cool and things like that, but in terms of sealing out ash, no. Dust, no. Probably some dust mask, some masks, some face masks. Right, very great right now. Hearing about it is scary. I don't know. If my wife lets me, I'll go. If she doesn't let me, then you probably won't see that. Somebody else might have it. But yeah, this is where we are, day 2. Volcanic eruption. Heading over into the big yellow crossing there. And then move on up. Come back, let me come.
No, they can't turn around.
Alright, hello again. This time I'm driving through Barley, well not Barley, from leaving Curtains. My intent was to reach Troumaca, however, the level of ashfall just past Curtains is terrible. So much so that law enforcement officers are turning vehicles back. The sea is nice and blue though. So yeah, so much for trying to reach Troumaca. Not today, so not today. Had some guys working along the road as well, they had to call them off. It's a very, very dusty day. A little rain would help. A little rain makes it very treacherous for the vehicles as well. Because all of this that you see on the road becomes like mud. It is a real off-road challenge on the main road. Personal. This is what Barley looks like. Today is the 12th of April. When did the eruption start? I think it started the 9th. Well, the explosive eruption. There's a lot of cleanup ahead. Some persons.
Man down high boy. See that clear good enough?
Yeah.
Can't see nothing at all. Clear real nice.
I could only imagine this one ever.
Coverage down in the water, we don't want to bag and chin. Ito mga pihili na bilis ano. Guardalo no, questo da gusto. Che toccava uno favore. Volcano kasi. You see?
Right.
Zip for a wash.
Yes. Alright, right now we're passing through Cumberland. The gap on the left that we're coming up to is what I drove down in my Coast Hill to Curtains Drive. That's the gap to the playing field and off to the wharf. So that's the pavilion that you're seeing there, that blue building. And we're passing the Cumberland playing field now and heading up towards Coast Hill. You see a very heavy deposit of ash in this area. Not as heavy as what you see in Rosebank, but yeah, it's heavy here.
Okay, so
And we're coming up to now the gap to the settlement where a lot of persons from Rosebank were moved in, well, still in Cumberland. Passing that settlement and continuing up to Coast Hill. As I drive up here, you might see the gentleman at the shop beginning to cover his nose. That's because there's a huge dust cloud following me. Although I'm not moving very fast, the very loose ash material, it just blows everywhere as you drive through it, especially when you drive through the thick deposits. It's really nasty.
it's not fun, boy. It's not fun. Mike, you know, yeah, what do you think this one for this one here now? What's on it look like? Inch? Okay.
Now this is a section of road a lot of persons are normally afraid to drive due to the steep inclines, but with these conditions today I could definitely understand it. I would have advised persons at this time not to even use this section of road depending on their type of vehicle. So this was very dangerous. There was danger in doing it dry, as in driving it when dry, but there's an increased danger if it's wet, because the material gets very slippery. Well, it's difficult for vehicles to find traction in it, so this would be very dangerous to drive when wet, but it is what it is. Snow, I'll get snow.
Snow.
No color.
When you see you go bounce back, man. I got the rain, you see.
Yeah. No, I look rain right now.
Nah, not right now. Right now you have plenty rain.
Alright, here we're still in Troumaca, in an area known as Murray. Also happens to be one of the areas I spent a large part of my childhood. So all of this looks almost surreal to me, driving into where I grew up and having it look like this. I don't think I could put that into words. But the road, if I went on, it would have carried us down to an area known as Madame Goguette. But yeah, this is Murray, and it was just shocking. Normally you could see La Soufriere behind this blue house, but today it's not visible at all. Now we jump back to the main road and head on down to Rosebank.
Yeah. It's like you never used to see some of them places so good.
Train and gone.
It's clean.
We hear bad I'm turn around immediate.
You see something, you see, like that? You see the white cloud up right above it there? Something like that here come right up.
See the look more ashes.
Is it so? Just the characteristic flow?
Yeah, you see it start to get kind of lazy. Yeah.
Also basically might go just calm soon.
As far as it could be unpredictable.
Exactly.
You wet the beat, you can't hope,
Oh, that must be one of the characteristic flow you see in there. But you notice in it, it's holy.
You see the steam?
Yeah, coming out.
Alright, as we entered this area is where a little fear started to kick in. This material was probably some of the loosest and thickest that we drove through so far. And heading down to Rosebank in this, I was beginning to wonder if I could get back out. My four-wheel drive on my vehicle has not failed me yet, but this was not the place I wanted to test it, because at this time we were still having eruptions and it just felt very, very risky. I tried to slow down as I passed the two persons walking there, because there was a huge cloud of dust behind me, but just rolling through it, it just wakes everything up. So this is Rosebank, heading into Rosebank, and it's nothing like what was there before. It is just loose material on the ground and thick. When we checked, it was like about 3 inches or so thick ash on the ground. And because it isn't as highly trafficked as some of the areas further south, the material doesn't go very far. So this is Rosebank. Now this section of Rosebank under that red shed, there's always a group of guys there. Once you pass through during the day, there's always a group of guys, but today there's nobody. Rosebank was kind of like a ghost town as we drove through. Just a few persons probably came down to clean off their roofs, or one or two who weathered the eruption so far, but there were very little people in Rosebank. But there was a lot of ash. Up here is where I think I ran out of courage and opted to turn around, because it was just getting thicker as we moved closer to the volcano. So I thought best, and I turned it around. After this, we headed up towards Rose Hall to take a look at what that is like. Rose Hall. And right about here is where my camera's battery died. But it is amazing the contrast that was happening at this time in different parts of the country, because this 3 or 4 days after the eruption, driving through Buckerment would look completely different. But before this battery dies again, let me say God bless, take care, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. God bless, guys.